Shopify has a merch website? What? Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. If you're brand new here, thank you for watching. My name's Kerry. Let's jump in. Recently, Shopify has launched a brand new merch website for entrepreneurs, which I thought was really, really cool. And so I wanted to review it and see what we can take from it as apparel and print-on-demand sellers using Shopify, right? What can we learn from a website that's actually built by Shopify that sells merch? So I think there's a lot of really cool tips that you can take from the Shopify Supply website, and I'm gonna show it to you in just a few minutes. But I also wanted to let you know that this review is not sponsored by Shopify. They did not ask me to do this. I simply want to learn from it, and hopefully you can as well. I am also wearing some of the merch that they did send me over from this website, so you'll see this on the website, but let's dive in. So here's the front page of the Shopify Supply website. Now, as I mentioned, this is a website for entrepreneurs, and it's really cool because Shopify having the access to hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs that use Shopify. Obviously, this is a really cool angle for them to sell some merch for Shopify sellers and specifically for online entrepreneurs in general. There's some really cool stuff here. Now, it's mainly clothing, but they're also gonna have some products like this board, which is really cool, this display board that actually connects up with your store and does some cool things. The first thing I wanna tell you though is we're not here to compare our websites with the Shopify merch website, right? This is built by the best of the best Shopify professionals, and this probably isn't gonna be something that we're gonna be able to mimic. Now, that being said, we can take a lot of the elements from this to make our store look better. I think there's a lot we can learn from this, but don't go into this feeling like you can recreate something that looks this good, because this is, again, just a super duper high-end store. And to kind of reiterate that, I wanted to show you something that I thought was interesting. We actually see here on the About page that this was built on Hydrogen. Hydrogen is a React-based web development framework for building custom storefronts on Shopify. So think of this as like a higher level web development, coding language that you can use if you want a super custom Shopify store. So Shopify, in wanting to build a custom store here for this, they hired a company that specializes in this Hydrogen framework, and they've built a super custom store on top of the already existing Shopify framework. And that's one of the reasons this website looks so good and has some of the custom elements that it does, like this scrolling ticker at the top and so many other things you'll see as you scroll through here. The first thing I want you to see that you can model on your store and what you can take from this is the simplicity of this design. This website is so clean and so simple. If you look up here at the top, oftentimes we have so many options in our top bar. Well, look how simple this is. They've got shop and about. Now, if you want to scroll down all the way down and you want to get all the links, I mean, there are a few more links that you'll see throughout here, but for the most part, this is like so simple, right? We can just shop or we can read about it, right? And then we also have our bag over here if we've added things into the cart. Another thing is the white background. They've chosen to go with a white background, and statistically, white backgrounds convert the best. Black backgrounds or just colored backgrounds are actually harder to read on your phone or on your desktop, and generally you're gonna get lower conversions if you have any other color of background. So white backgrounds are the best, and Shopify is on board with that as well. As we look at some of their product designs, so I actually wanna look at what is on these t-shirts and apparel that they're selling. One thing I want you to notice is how incredibly if you're starting up a brand new online apparel store and you need some tips to design and build out a pro store, maybe like the one we're looking at in this video, I want to invite you to download my free 13-step cheat sheet over at shirtschool.com/cheatsheet. This PDF guide will walk you through 13 steps that you need to make sure you tick off as you're building and getting ready to launch your brand new Shopify store. So go download it completely free using the link in the description or by going to shirtschool.com/cheatsheet. One thing I want you to notice is how incredibly simple these designs are. They are super simple. They're a very minimal amount of colors. And I'm always preaching that simple sells better. And so I think it's really cool here that this entrepreneur tee and this entrepreneur long sleeve and many of the other designs are just very, very basic designs. The most important thing is not that your designs are super complex, but it's actually that they speak to your customer, that they make your customer feel something. And so I love to see these simple, but very high-end and professional designs that Shopify has here on their products. One other thing I wanted to point out is right here on the product page, look how they only have one add to cart button or add to bag button. All of their themes come stock with multiple dynamic checkout buttons. And I always recommend that you remove those checkout buttons, the PayPal button, the Google Pay button, the Apple Pay button, the Shop Pay. Even on Shopify's actual merch website, they have removed those buttons so you only have the one option of add to cart. I think that's really smart. A couple other things on the product page I want to touch on. First of all, the description. They have created a specific product description for each of their products, which I think is awesome, but it's not too long. It's very simple. They say, cover yourself with the spirit of an entrepreneur and the premium feel of brushed midweight Egyptian cotton. Another thing I noticed as I looked through all of the information that they put in the product page is that they kept everything pretty simple. They didn't really talk too much in jargon about the fit or the cut and those kind of things. They gave you the information that you need. They told you how to wash it, those kind of things, but they didn't get too crazy with any technical jargon about the t-shirt that really turns people off and that people just don't understand. And lastly, the mock-ups. The mock-ups I noticed are not only really high quality mock-ups, which is very important to a merch website, but they're all formatted the same way. You can see that these mock-ups are actually tall, and all of them are like that. Even these ones that just have the t-shirt here, you can see that there's space on the bottom and top, and they have clearly cropped all of their mock-ups to be the same size, and this is pretty apparent throughout their website. And so I always recommend when you're actually getting your product mock-ups that you take the time to crop them and make them all the same format. Now, I generally go with a square, but in this case, the taller images look better, so they went with that, and I think that's a really great idea. So to recap what we've learned today, Shopify has put together a really simple design, a really clean design. White background, minimal buttons, minimal options. I think that's something you should definitely implement in your store. They also have actual t-shirt and merch designs that are also simple, but speak to their customer, which is really important. And their mock-ups were high quality and also formatted very similarly, so that adds to that clean and professional looking design. If you enjoyed this video today and got some value out of it, make sure you tap that like button and also leave me a comment down below. What's your take on this Shopify merch website? I want to know what you think. See you next week.